Welcome to 5 Good Minutes.
You're listening to today's inspirational message on the book of Daniel
With Brady Randall.
Today we're continuing in Daniel 5, and we start reading in verse 18. Your Majesty, the Most High God, gave your father Nebuchadnezzar sovereignty and greatness and glory and splendor. Because of the high position he gave him, all the nations and the people of every language dreaded and feared him. Those the kings wanted to put to death, he put to death. Those he wanted to spare, he spared. Those he wanted to promote, he promoted, and those he wanted to humble, he humbled. But when his heart became arrogant and hardened with pride, he was deposed from his royal throne and stripped of his glory. He was driven away from people and given the mind of an animal. He lived with the wild donkeys and ate grass like the ox, and his body was drenched with the dew of heaven, until he acknowledged that the Most High God is sovereign over all kingdoms on earth and sets over them anyone he wishes. So here, Daniel compares Belshazzar with King Nebuchadnezzar. He reminds him, again, Daniel's the one who's going to interpret and read what is written here, and he reminds him that King Nebuchadnezzar before him was given much, and to whom much is given, much is required. God had given to Nebuchadnezzar sovereignty, greatness, glory, splendor. He allowed the other nations to fear him. And all of this went to King Nebuchadnezzar's head. He didn't acknowledge that all of this had been given to him by God. And friend, I want to remind you today, as I remind myself, that this same thing can happen to us today. It can be easy to get to a certain position in our life, no matter the position, and think that the reason we're here is because of our own self-sufficiency, because of our hard work, our connections, our education. And all of that might be partially true, but none of that would be possible without the Lord opening up those avenues for us to begin with. As you may recall, King Nebuchadnezzar's heart became proud and God humbled him. And I mean, he really humbled him. He was given the mind of an animal, living with wild donkeys, eating grass like the ox. Can you imagine that scene? This guy literally went crazy. No one would have hardly believed it, considering the high position that he was in. Tomorrow we will see how Belshazzar should have heeded this same warning and how God ultimately humbles the exalted. But for the remainder of our time today, I just want to concentrate on that last sentence that we read. God is sovereign over all the kingdoms of the earth, and he sets over them anyone he wishes. To say that God is sovereign means that God is absolutely in control of all things. And what that means is that he's sovereign over this country. He's sovereign over government. He's sovereign over disease, over trade wars, over financial markets, over congressmen, kings, and presidents. And what this means is that nothing happens outside of his divine allowance or control. And we will see, he is and will be the king in the end. And what this also means is that this is good news for you and for me today, because that means that God is ultimately sovereign over your life and mine. And what are you worried about right now? Just as you're listening today, whatever you're worried about, God already knows that. What relationships have you fretting? What are you currently anxious about? God already knows how it's all going to work out. Think about that. All the things that we're worried about, God already knows how it's going to work out. You say, well, that may be well and good, but I don't know how it's going to work out. The text today reminds us that we can clutch our power and control in our own hands, or we can humble ourselves and give it to God. And maybe, just maybe, that's what's holding you up today. Maybe it's God's sovereignty that actually has you upset instead. You say, if God is sovereign and in control, then why is he currently allowing this in my life or in the world? And I don't necessarily have a good answer for that. The reality is that we don't always know what God's doing behind the scenes, or rarely do we know. He may be doing a million things behind the scenes that we can't yet see. And either one of two things are true. Either he is in control and he's working it all together for good, or he's not. And he's just waiting to see how it turns out, just like you and me. I want to encourage you today. Let Daniel be a reminder to you. God's not surprised by anything in this world. including anything that's happening in your life. And if you would humble yourself today and acknowledge your need for Him, He promises to be your sufficiency. For it's when we acknowledge our weakness that we can truly experience His divine power. And if God can raise the dead, if God can create everything that you and I see, there is nothing too hard for Him. He's not powerless. He stands in control of everything in the universe, and that same God is with you. And He's with me, and He's for you if you will receive Jesus Christ, His Son, as your Savior and Lord. May that be an extreme comfort to you today.
Thanks for joining us here today. There's a lot of great content to explore on Orchard Hill Plus and on the Orchard Hill main feed from the weekend. Have a great day.